Now today we are going to begin center of mass. So what do you mean by center of mass? So see here, you write down center of mass is that point, center of mass is that point at which whole mass of the body is supposed to be concentrated, at which whole mass of the body is supposed to be concentrated. If the external force acting on the body, if the external force acting on the body, external forces acting on the body are directly applied at the center of mass, are directly applied at the center of mass, then its state of rest or motion remain unaffected, state of rest or motion remain unaffected. Now see here, what is the meaning of center of mass? As we know that all the Newton's laws, they are described for the point particles. Open the windows. These Newton's laws are described for the point particle. Now what is the meaning of point particle? Point particle means any particle which is having mass but whose dimensions are negligible. Can you suppose this chalk as a point particle? So no, it is consisting innumerable number of particles. Here there are innumerable number of particles on this chalk. Similarly, this duster, it is also composed by innumerable number of particles. As we know that Newton's laws of motion, Newton's second law, F equals to m into A, all these laws are described for the point particles. Then how will you apply those laws in case of a body which is having a definite size, whose size cannot be assumed point, whose size cannot be assumed negligible? How will you apply Newton's laws for those? So we can apply Newton's laws for those by describing a point center of mass at which we assume whole mass to be concentrated. Now here you take, this is one body which is consisting, suppose 5 particles, 6 particles, there are some particles here, it's clear, and some forces are acting on this body. One force is acting in this way, other force is acting this way, it's clear, third force is acting in this way. And suppose under the influence of these, it is moving, it is either at rest or under the influence of these forces, here we have assumed either it is at rest or moving with a definite velocity. It is moving with a definite velocity. It's clear. If we assume that its center of mass is this point, its center of mass, center of this body, center of mass of this body is this point. So if you apply all these forces instead of at these points, if you apply all these, suppose the center of mass is this, here I have taken this point, it's clear. Now here if we apply all these forces instead of these points directly at this point, how will you apply directly at this point? Because it is located in the interior of the body. How will you apply here? So by shifting its line of action at this point, so that the line of action of this force F1 is acting at this point. It is passing through center of mass. It is passing through this point which we have assumed as center of mass. It's clear. Similarly, this force, here this force, I have changed its direction in such a way, I have changed the point of application of force in such a way that its line of action, I have changed the point of application of this force F2 in such a way that its line of action passes through the center of mass and its magnitude is same. So here there is no change, neither there is any change in magnitude nor there is any change in direction. Only point of application has been changed. Only point of application has been changed. It is clear. So here F2 is acting here. Now here F3 I have applied this way. This is F3. It is clear. So now instead of applying at these points, I have changed these forces have been directly applied at the center of mass. What will you find? You will find if earlier it was at rest under the influence of the forces, then still it will remain at rest. If earlier it was moving with a velocity v, then now also it will move with the same velocity. Means what is the advantage of center of mass? If the various forces acting on the body are directly applied at the center of mass, then its state of rest or state of motion remain unaffected. Its state of rest or state of motion will remain unaffected. Now see here, what is the advantage of the center of mass? Center of mass, since this is a point particle, here we have assumed, suppose these particles are having masses m1, m2, m3, m4, m5. So what will be the total mass located here? It will be sum of the masses of these particles. It's clear. And its size is, it is a point, means size is negligible. It can be assumed as a particle. So what is the advantage of center of mass? Center of mass simplifies the motion. We can discuss the path of the motion, we can discuss the velocity, acceleration, all these things very simply we can find it. You can see here there is one example. Suppose there is one hammer and it is thrown at some angle from the horizontal. It's clear. So as you know that if you throw any particle at some angle from the horizontal, what will be its path? Its path will be projectile path. If the particle is thrown in such a way that it is thrown at some angle from the horizontal, then path will be projectile. Now the hammer has been thrown. So see here, if you see the motion of the hammer at the different points, if you find the motion of the hammer. So see here, it will be like this. Here I am making, this is the hammer. This is the hammer. Now here its orientation will keep on changing. अगर हम देखेंगे तो हैमर की ओरिएंटेशन क्या है, ये चेंज हुआ करेगी लगातार. यहाँ पर ये ऐसे था, यहाँ पर ये ऐसे है, यहाँ ये ऐसे है. देन हियर it is something like this. So here you will find that the motion of the different particles is of different. If you see the path of the different particle, it will be different. Path of the different particles of the hammer, that will be different. But there will be one point in the hammer which will describe the exactly projectile motion. See here, suppose this is the center of mass, then you will find that its motion will be projectile. Its motion, if you join then it will be a projectile motion. It's clear. Similarly, if you take this chalk or if you take this duster and if you throw it vertically, so it is going up in this way. Here its position is this. Here it becomes this. Here it becomes this. It's clear. Here it becomes this. Then it goes, means it is rotating. It is rotating. But if you see the center of mass, its motion will be vertical. Its motion will be vertical. Here you can see you have thrown it vertically upward. It is thrown vertically upward. So if, and here we have thrown it in such a way that we have given some rotational motion also. Rotational motion means जैसे क्या है, हम क्रिकेट बॉल को फेंकते हैं, स्पिन कराते हैं. So when you are spinning the ball, so you are spinning as well as providing some translational motion. It's clear. So you will find that the orientation of the duster at every place will not remain same. It will not remain same. It's clear. But within the duster there will be one particle which will describe the straight line motion. It is describing the straight line motion. It's clear. So center of mass simplifies when we are discussing the motion of the body. Motion of the body means which is consisting innumerable number of particles. Then it can be simplified by taking center of mass. It's clear. Now see here. How will you find out the center of mass of a body? So see here. One more thing. Center of mass and center of gravity. What is the difference between them? Center of gravity, you know that it is that point at which whole weight of body is supposed to be concentrated, and it is the balancing point. It is the balancing point. If there is a uniform gravitational field, if there is a uniform gravitational field means the value of g is constant throughout, value of acceleration due to gravity is constant throughout, then center of mass and center of gravity both will be the same points. But suppose the body is located in the non-uniform gravitational field. It is located in the non-uniform gravitational field. So what will happen? If we assume all the particles are having the same massage, if we assume that all the particles are having same massage, but they will not experience the same weight, they will not experience the same weight. And in this case, what will happen? Center of mass and center of gravity both will be the different points, so that you can note down. In case of uniform gravitational field, center of mass and center of gravity will be same. Cm and Cg will be same. While in non-uniform magnetic field, non-uniform gravitational field, in non-uniform gravitational field, Cm and Cg will not be the same point. Cm and Cg will not be the same point. Now see here, how will you find out the center of mass of a two-particle system? Center of mass of a two-particle system. Here we will not go at its derivation, only directly result I will explain. Center of mass of a two-particle system. It's clear? Now see here. Here center of mass, position of center of mass we will describe with the help of a coordinate system. With the help of a coordinate system. So see here, suppose this is a coordinate system. Here this is x-axis and this is the y-axis, this is origin. Let there is a system of particles having two particles. One is this particle and other is this particle. What will be the position vector of particle 1? Position vector of particle 1, position vector always starts from origin and ending at that point whose position vector it is. So see here, position vector of particle 1 will be this, this we can denote by vector r1, and the mass of this particle we have taken m1. It's clear? Then what will the position vector of particle 2? It will be vector r2, and here it is equal, its mass we have taken m2. It's clear? Where will be the center of mass of two particle system? So center of mass of two particle system will be always on the line joining the particles. It will be always on the line joining the particles. Cm lies on line joining particles. Here in this case, means Cm will be somewhere here on the line joining this. It's clear? Suppose you have taken this as the center of mass, then this will be the vector RCM. So how will you find vector RCM? Here vector RCM is given by m1 r1 plus m2 r2 divided by m1 plus m2 divided by m1 plus m2. This will be the center of mass. It's clear? And here its derivation is not very important. Now see here. How will you derive this expression? So you can see here, suppose one external force is acting at the particle, this F1, and other external force is acting at the particle 2, F2. It's clear? There will be internal forces also. Internal forces, 2 is attracting to 1 and 1 is attracting to 2. It's clear? That will be internal force. So suppose this is the F12 force exerted by 2 on 1. This also acts, and similarly on this F21 is acting. F21 is acting. It's clear? So what is the total force acting on the particle 1? Total force acting on the particle 1 will be given by vector F1 plus small vector F1. This is clear? Now see here, we can apply Newton's second law for this particle, because Newton's laws are described for what? They are described for the point particles. So as we know that from the Newton's second law, F equals to rate of change of momentum, delta P upon delta T. It's clear? So here we will write it as dP1 upon dt. dP1 upon dt. Now if it has achieved velocity v1, if this particle 1 achieves the velocity v1, then it can be written as what? d m1 v1 upon dt. It's clear? m1 you can take out common. So it will be equal to what? dV1 upon dt. dV1 upon dt. Now see here, V1 is what? V1 is velocity of particle 1. What is the velocity? Velocity is rate of change of displacement. And when displacement will change, when particle will move, then R1 will change. When particle 1 will move, what will happen? The value of R1 will change. So we can write V1 as dR1 upon dt. So when you will substitute this value here, what will you get? From here you can see this vector F1 plus small vector F1. So when you will substitute vector f1 plus small vector, this is f12 you can write, f12, this we have named as f12. Vector f12 equals to here m1, now all of you see here, this is d by dt, and in place of v1 you write down this. So it will be dr1 upon dt, dr1 upon dt. On further simplifying, what will you get? Vector f1 plus vector f12 equals to m1 into d2 upon dt square r1. This. It's clear? This is for the particle 1. This is for the particle 1. It is clear? This will be for the particle 1. Now see here, what will be the similar expression for the particle 2? So on the particle 2, what is the net force? Vector sum of F2 and F21. Vector sum of F2 and F21 equals to, what will you write here? Who can tell? What will you write here for particle 2? M2 d square upon dt square R2, vector R2. It's clear? Now if you add these side by side, on adding side by side, so you can see here, when you will add side by side, what will you get? You will get the vector f1 plus vector f12 plus vector f2 plus vector f21 equals to m1 d square r1 upon dt square. It's clear? Plus m2 d square r2 upon dt square. Now see here, from here what will be this? What will be this thing? Vector f12 plus vector f21, it will be equal to what? It will be 0 from Newton's law of action and reaction. Both forces are equal in magnitude and opposite in direction, therefore their resultant will be 0. And when their resultant will be 0, then it will be vector f1 plus vector f2, that will be equal to m1 d square r1 upon dt square plus m2 d square r2 upon dt square. Now see here, if we write a similar expression for the, have you noted that? Now see, here it can be written in this way, vector f1 plus vector f2 equals to d square upon dt square, that can be taken out. D square upon dt square can be taken out, and within it will be m1 r1 plus m2 r2, m2 r2. It's clear? Now see here, if we write the similar expression for the center of mass, so see here, when these forces are applied, instead of acting at 1 and 2, if they are applied at the center of mass, if instead of applying at 1 and 2, these forces are applied at the center of mass, so what will be the net force? It will be vector F1 plus vector F2. What is the total mass at the center of mass? Total mass is m1 plus m2. And what is its position vector? RCM. So it will be equal to d2 upon dt square, here m1 plus m2 into RCM. When you equate both, what will you get? On equating, what will you get? You equate this side, equation 1 and equation 2. See here, LHS and LHS is same. When you will equate RHS, what will you get? M1 plus M2 RCM, M1 plus M2 RCM will be equal to M1 R1 plus M2 R2. It's clear? So what is RCM? RCM will be M1 R1 plus M2 R2 divided by M1 plus M2. 1 plus M2. This will be the position vector of center of mass of two particle system. It's clear? So see here, all of you remember one thing, what is center of mass? Center of mass is that point within a body, within a body, or it may be outside the body, anywhere it can be situated, at which whole mass of body is supposed to concentrated. And if the forces acting at various points of the body are directly applied at that point, then its state of rest or state of motion remain unaffected. Remain unaffected means जब फोर्सेस डिफरेंट पॉइंट्स पर लग रहे थे, सपोज ये रेस्ट पर था, तो अब अगर वही फोर्सेस सेंटर ऑफ मास पर डायरेक्टली अप्लाई कर दे, मतलब कैसे अप्लाई करें कि फोर्सेज की डायरेक्शन ना चेंज हो, लाइन ऑफ एक्शन इज पासिंग थ्रू द सेंटर ऑफ मास, देन व्हाट विल हैपन? इट विल remain at the state of rest. So now tomorrow I will begin further.